Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. Taylor Hall is not a Boston Bruin. God, why does it feel good to say that? I'm not happy about it. Don't get me wrong, but I got so sick of the Taylor Hall is a Boston Bruin. It just drove me nuts. It's not because it was bad. I don't get mad at the people who enjoyed it. For some reason, I was over that joke. And when this trade happened, the moment it happened, I was like, thank God I never have to hear that again. And I immediately got on the phone with my buddy Knucklepuck, and he immediately said it. So, karma, I should say. A bummer. A bummer. It genuinely is. Like, before we get into all the nitty-gritty, it's sad. Taylor Hall was a good Boston Bruin. He really was. I enjoyed having him on this team. He was exciting to watch when he was on. He really was. But this move, was it the easy way out for Sweeney? Was it the easy way out? He's committed to a retool that's become very obvious. And boy, this was the first move. It was the easiest way to clear a large amount of cap. I should get it out there right now. These are the two trades that were done today. There was two trades. Some of you might have missed one. First of all, the Taylor Hall trade. Chicago gets Taylor Hall. He's got 2 more years at $6 million each year, and the rights to Nick Foligno, who is a UFA. They'll probably try to keep Nick Foligno too, I believe. Why else throw him in there? The Bruins get Ian Mitchell, RFA, and Alec Regula. I really doubt I'm saying that right. Also RFA. Ian and Alec, we're going to go over in just a little bit. Riley Walsh is traded from the New Jersey Devils. He is also an RFA to the Bruins for Shane Bowers, who you will remember we traded for in the Keith Kincaid trade. When we sent Kincaid to the Avalanche, we got Bowers back. I think that was more about contracts than anything. So, a little bit busy of a day. I kind of expect more news to be coming in the next 48 hours that does include a couple of defensemen, but we'll get there. Well, let's go over just real quickly who the players are, and then we're going to dive into what this means. First of all, Taylor Hall, you know who he is. He had 36 points in 61 games, had a really nice playoffs, 8 points in 7 games, as short as that playoffs were. Undervalued by many, as the points didn't scream top tier through the regular season, mostly because of injuries and playing with Coyle and Frederick. But I thought he was a very valued member of this team, and I think the coaching staff and front office feel the same. It just worked out the way it did. He did have a 16-team no-trade list. He did not include Chicago in it. No, that was not a mistake. That was on purpose. I realized this thing when the Johansson trade was made. When Nashville retained $4 million on Ryan Johansson and sent him to the Avalanche for nothing. I realized that the cap crunch we were in was more impactful than I had thought. I thought it was bad. I thought cap space was going to be hard to move. Getting nothing for Taylor Hall, nothing, is a little bit like, oh, oof, right? It's a little oof. Is he maybe a little overpaid? If you're going to play him like a third liner, sure. But to get nothing in return for him? Oof. But when that trade was made, I immediately went, oh, it's actually going to be kind of difficult to find a trade for him. It suddenly turned the other way, where I was like, do I have to give up something else to get rid of him? Not that I wanted to. Felt like more of a reason we would keep him. But hey, that just wanted to throw that out there. Nick Foligno, you know who he is. He's an off-ice leader and shouldn't be on the ice. Bye, buddy. I'm not going to miss you, but I respect the hell out of you. That seems fair enough to me. I would say that to your face, and I think you'd respect it. Maybe you might hit me. Please don't hit me. You're a very big man. Shane Bowers was center depth on a team that needed center depth, but he was not making his way to the NHL. It was just a contract swap, so he is an AHL guy. Ian Mitchell, who you might not know, 24 years old, 5'11", right-handed defenseman who played 35 games with the Blackhawks last season, and they went not great. Not great. He was butt cheeks, I'll admit. Is he a young guy who was a highly touted prospect 6 years ago? Yes. Has he shown why? No, not really. Not really. But that's okay. Because he has a chance here to be in a sheltered role behind very, very good right-handed defensemen in McAvoy and Carlo. And, play on a third pair. He will compete to see if he can take over Clifton's role. We'll get to Clifton in a little bit. Alec Regula, 22 years old, 6'4", 200 pounds, right shot defenseman, who will be in the AHL if we re-sign him. I'm not 100% that he is getting a tendered, like a qualifying offer. I'm not 100% on that. Ian Mitchell will not make a lot when he's qualified, so I wouldn't be worried. He'll make like $1 million or something. I wouldn't be worried about that deal. Riley Walsh, gotten from the Devils, 24-year-old, 5'11", 180-pound right defenseman. We got 3 right shot defensemen out of this deal. These deals, I should say. Might compete. He has had 2 really good seasons in the AHL. He has 84 points in 141 AHL games over the last 2 years. Regular season games, I should say. He may compete for that third right-handed spot, third pairing spot. So I would expect Riley Walsh and Ian Mitchell to both be at least qualified on their RFA status on 2-way contracts and see if either one can maybe grab that role. I would very much expect that. I'm not so sure about Alec. I'm really not so sure. But what does it mean? Does it mean Tyler Bertuzzi returns? No. But I'll tell you what it does mean. It does mean we now have over $10 million in cap space. So that's nice. It also means that when Riley and or Forbort are moved, we will have 13 to 16 million in cap space, depending on how it's done. So that's nice. Does it make Bertuzzi way more palatable as a signing? Way more possible, I should say. Absolutely it does. Here's my problem. If you give him 4x6, 4 years, $6 million, I don't like it. The state of our team right now, where we are timeline-wise, everything like that. Bertuzzi for a long-term deal at $6 million plus, I would have rather had Taylor Hall for 2 more years and then figured out where we were from them. Taylor Hall was a better defensive player through the season. Bertuzzi has a lot of injury history. Bertuzzi is streaky. Do I dislike Bertuzzi? No. But do I think he is the end-all, be-all, we absolutely need this winger? I think people are real excited about him, but I don't think he's going to be as good as you guys think. I really do believe that. Now, would I be excited about Bertuzzi being on the team? Of course, I get excited about most anybody who wears the Spike B. I don't, if that is a trade to make the Bertuzzi thing happen, especially long-term for the same amount of money, I don't like that, man. I don't think it's a smart decision. I think we'll regret it within a year or 2. I don't like it. If Bertuzzi comes in at, hey, I want a 2-year deal at maybe the same money, or hey, I want a 2-year deal at $5 million each year, and then when the cap spikes, we'll revisit, I would take that. Absolutely, I would do that. This had to be a way to move money, not just for Bertuzzi, in my book. If they sign Bertuzzi to the same exact amount of money, then that is going to be a regretted situation, in my opinion. What else does it mean? Well, it's good news for Swayman, Frederick, Grzelcyk. Grizz no longer needs to be a cap dump. There's no reason to do it at this point. You have enough cap to at least do something to fill in the gaps. You do not have to move Grizz at this point, which is probably a good thing because you need those bargain deals, and Grizz has been a good player for us. And even if you want to see him move farther down the lineup, he is still a good defenseman. And at $3.1 million or whatever he's at, that's a really good contract that we should hold on to. Swayman has more cap space to be signed. Frederick, it becomes much more likely that he gets signed. I'm still a little afraid of offer sheets on that end of things. But that all becomes much, much more possible. In my head, particularly for Frederick, I think they want to keep him. They want to use some cap space to keep him and sign him to a bridge deal. I think that is a really good sign for Frederick staying. Really good sign. Means virtually nothing for Riley and Forbort, as I've mentioned. This does not mean you should not or don't have to move these guys. I would still continue to free up cap space as much as possible. If you could move both of them, if you were able to trade them, future considerations, whatever, I would do it in a heartbeat. You free up $6 million more. Yeah, sure, you get a little weaker on that left side, but do you really? I don't know. I don't think it means anything for whether or not they're being kept. Clifton, on the other hand, it does mean something for him. I still think he's gone. I think it's a 90% chance he's gone. But Connor Clifton now has a roadmap for being re-signed by the Bruins. The only way it happens, though, is if he takes a sweetheart deal with us for 1 or 2 more years. And then as the cap goes up, he might get a better deal. We'll see what happens there. What does it mean for Bergeron and Krejci? Jack shit. I mean, jack shit. Yes, they could come back. They could have come back already. We were going to have to move cap anyway. We were going to be able to move enough cap to get them back if they signed the same type of deals. But what it does do for the center position is it opens up the possibility of us signing a guy like Lindholm. Not signing, trading for a guy like Lindholm. He doesn't make a ton of money, but now money does not have to be retained by any means. And we can work on an extension when we get there. But it does open up that possibility. What does it mean for Chicago? All things considered, they probably could have squeezed out a 4th or a 3rd round pick from us. A 4th round pick from us. So I wouldn't consider this a massive win, but it's still a win. They get Taylor Hall when they had no one to put next to Bedard. Bedard's going straight to the NHL next year. There's no way they don't bring him up right away. And Taylor Hall gets to be his winger. Good for him, good for Bedard. That's a win for Chicago. And all in all, good news for those hoping to re-sign Bertuzzi. Again, personally, that swap doesn't feel right to me long term, but whatever. This team could still very much zag, though. With Forbort and Riley likely coming off the books, or they should be coming off the books, you're looking at about having 14 to 16 mil in space. And next season, having almost 30 mil in space. There is a ton of potential for a quick retool, while we still have McAvoy, Pasternak, Lindholm, Olmark or Swayman. I mean, there's just a lot of potential there for a very quick turnaround. This year, the team's not going to be as good as they could be. The following year, it's a real possibility. And that big swing does become much more possible for a number 1 center. I don't think it's out of the realm, especially for this upcoming season. That being said, it does throw a cautious eye at Liesel and Lohrei, as one or both of those guys would have to get moved in a deal like that. So maybe this isn't great news for Liesel. Maybe it's not great news for Lohrei. That's a bit of a stretch, though, if I'm going to be honest with you. Lastly, grades. Chicago, they got a B, which let's call it a B+. Just because I'm knocking them down a little bit, because I just don't see how they don't walk away with a middling pick. With how that Johansson deal went, it's hard to move cap right now, and I feel like it would have been pretty damn easy for them to get something else from us. So they get a B+. They just don't get an A. Boo-hoo. But still, good deal for them. Boston gets a C-. It's not a good move. It's not good for us. Is it? I mean, we had to do it, but I'm not handing out bonus points just because you put yourself in this scenario, right? Like, you don't get an extra boost to the grade because you had to. No, you get a C-. It's not a failing grade because, well, you kept your picks. You didn't have to give up anything extra. You didn't have to retain any amount of money. Right? When I put this deal together before the Johansson trade, I had the Bruins getting picks back for Hall, but we were retaining a certain amount of money on them. Now, that looks like it would have been a complete pipe dream. A complete pipe dream. C- feels fair. Am I excited about this trade? No. But it does make the offseason a lot more exciting. I really hope this does not convince the team, though, that we can hang on to Riley or Forbort. I really hope not. I'd like to see this team be competitive next year. Chuck those guys out. Seriously. If you can't find a way to fill up the rest of the, get to the cap, then sure, keep one, because then you don't have to waste a buyout on him. But I really don't see that being a problem. I don't think you do either. All right, guys, it does it for me. Like, comment, subscribe. Shop is now open down below on Redbubble. Make sure to click on the item because those designs are available on a bunch of different products. Short Shift Pod, we're doing an emergency pod tonight, which starts in about half an hour, so I gotta start editing this. That's it. That's all I got right now. Taylor Hall, you will be missed. Nick Foligno. Good on you, bud. Go Bees!